viewers and subscribers to another episode, and we'll be talking about the Jamaican defeat to Guatemala. Now remember, Jamaica beat Guatemala comprehensively a couple of days ago, and everyone was talking about that game. Leon Bailey had one of his better games in the black, green and gold of Jamaica, and coming into this game against Guatemala in the Gold Cup, there were a lot of fans that were expecting it to be similar. Now I did a couple of videos, as a matter of fact. I did a preview as well as a more extensive analysis before the game happened, and I told you about Oscar Santos, that he was their main man. Guatemala made 8 changes ahead of the game that they played against Jamaica in Kingston, and I told you that that game didn't mean much to the Guatemala team, and we saw that manifest itself in the Gold Cup game just now. Now I know a lot of the Jamaican fans, they will be heartbroken, some will be dark. Yeah, some will be getting super dark this evening because we know they don't like to lose. None of us like to lose, but it is part of the game, and I know that had the Jamaican coach done his homework, he would not have been in this predicament. Going into the game, he spoke about the talent that he had available to him, but we didn't see him utilize the squad to the maximum in this particular game. And I have a few takeaways that I've put together for my post-game assessment. We're going to do another video on the player rating. We're also going to do another video on our assessment after game 1 or match day 1 for Jamaica's zone. But let's get to my takeaways from this first part. Now, Guatemala sends for the big hitters. We told you about the players that were missing, and we saw them coming to play in this particular game. What about the World Cup qualifiers? No one remembered about that. That game didn't mean anything. What about the FIFA ranking? Guatemala is ranked 106, Jamaica is ranked 63. Again, means nothing. When it comes down to football, and especially Latin American opposition, Jamaica tends to struggle. Now, a little bit of history: Jamaica has never lost to Guatemala at the Gold Cup, and they've been playing since the 90s. I think well over 5 games, close to like 7 games. Jamaica has not lost one. Jamaica has not drawn one. We've always won those games whenever we pounce upon Guatemala. Some may even go as far as to say Guatemala is Jamaica's beating stick. Not tonight, because Guatemala, they came out and they put on somewhat of a footballing or midfield clinic. Jamaica, non-existent in midfield. We were struggling to get a hold of the ball, and a lot of the times we were bypassing midfield and getting the ball into the attacking players, which I'm going to get to a little bit further down. But again, remember, smash the like button, subscribe to Halftime TV if you haven't yet done so. I'm going to go into the rest of it now, but take a minute, smash the like button if you enjoy the content that we're producing, and subscribe to the channel. Turn the notification on as well. That way, whenever we upload a video, you are notified. My second pointer, Damian Lowe in midfield, was a failed experiment. Now, we saw Damian Lowe in midfield against Canada a couple of years ago in the Nations League. We saw Damian Lowe in midfield against the British Virgin Islands a couple of days ago. Now, the opposition, the British Virgin Islands, we need to bear in mind that it's lesser opposition, and as such, he will look better, put it that way. So in the context of everything, against lesser opposition, naturally he's going to look better. Even in that game against the British Virgin Islands, I still think he didn't look comfortable as a midfielder. He broke up challenges, etc. But modern day midfielders, we don't want them doing too much tackling and getting themselves in those altercations. It's about finding those spaces and controlling the tempo of the game. We didn't see that from Damian Lowe, and the coach realized that he had blundered, and the second half he put Damian Lowe into a back 3, and he put Joel Latibodiere in that midfield position. And I think Joel Latibodiere is the natural option in the absence of Isaac Hayden, because we saw, seems as if Isaac Hayden is injured. We saw reports as well that Sule Makala is going to be joining the squad. So we'll see what the second game looks like. But for now, Latibodiere looked more comfortable in midfield than Damian Lowe. And I think that's one of the blunders of the coach this evening, and may very well be one of the reasons Jamaica lost this game. My third takeaway from the game: injuries everywhere. So I spoke about Isaac Hayden a little bit earlier. I also spoke about Damian Lowe. He too picked up an injury during this game, just like midway the second half, and then, well, not midway, but closer to the end of the second half. And if we remember closely, Mason Holgate was injured a couple of games ago. So what that means is two of Jamaica's centre halves are now injured. The next game may very well be Richard King and Ethan Pinnock forming that centre back pairing, but still competent enough, still good enough, both defenders. It's just heartbreaking to see all these players going down injured at such an important time in the tournament. Well, the beginning of the tournament when we need them most. Okay, so moving on to the next one, Cephas, Ronaldo Cephas. I don't know where to start. Now, one of the problems that we had with Ronaldo Cephas a couple of months ago was his decision making in the final third, and he had a few good games. Everyone enjoyed those good games. I, for one, was lobbying to get him into the starting lineup because he made a claim for himself. He went out there and he gave a good account of himself. We didn't see that this evening, and I think it's a second game now in a row, because the game before this one, Ronaldo Cephas didn't look like the Ronaldo Cephas that we saw in the previous 3 games either. So I don't know what's happening there. Ronaldo Cephas may very well need to reassess what's happening and to make some changes if he is to retain his place in the national team. I know Coach Steve McLaren mentioned that these players are being selected based on merit. So what that means is the players who are coming in, they're training hard, they're giving their all, they're making claims for starting positions. So Ronaldo Cephas, I hope you're watching this video. I hope you're heeding to my advice that you need to up your game. You need to find back that level that you were at a couple of games ago if you are to stay in the starting 11. My next point is the superstars were missing in action. So Jamaica's attacking quartet or attacking trio is usually a set of superstars. Demarai Gray is a superstar. Leon Bailey is a superstar. I won't even say the attacking trio. 2 of the attacking quartet, they are superstars. I didn't see any of them tonight. Leon Bailey, he tried to be positive, but a lot of his play ended up back in midfield, like going crossfield. I didn't see enough from him when the team needed him most, and it's the same thing with Demarai Gray. There were instances where I thought his decision making was extremely poor. He didn't want to share the ball on a lot of occasions and opted for shots, which I don't know what's happening there. The coach, I think, should have gotten him off the pitch way sooner, but I didn't see that. So I hope it changes in the next game, but again, the next team that we're going to be playing is Guadeloupe, so I expect it to be a little bit easier than it was against Guatemala. But finally, too little, too late. Now, Jamaica made a host of substitutes late in the second half, and what I realized is the substitutes were the one who kind of upped the tempo. First, I wouldn't even go as far as later down in the second half, because once Dexter Lembekisa got onto the pitch, he was looking bright, he was looking lively, he looked as if he wanted to get the team on the front foot. Before that, it's almost as if the players who were on the pitch, they thought they were in the lead. At one point I saw ball went for throw, Amari Bell there wasn't any hustle, there wasn't any level of urgency, because it's almost as if they had the mindset that we had time to get back into this game. That wasn't to be, and I think once Dexter Lembekisa came onto the pitch, the play was more positive. So for that, I commend the coach. The substitutes were bright, and it's one of the luxuries of having a proper squad. It's one of the luxury of having good players to call upon when you need them. Mikel Antonio was back on the pitch as well. That's good to see. He looked bright. He looked like he could give us maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So that's also good to see. The number 10 that came on, Borrell, he was hustling as well. So I think most of the substitutes that came on, quite frankly, all the substitutes that came on, they gave good accounts of themselves. Casey Palmer as well. So overall, I think the Jamaican team, they didn't deserve to win this game. Guatemala, they played them out of the midfield, and I think overall Jamaica didn't give us enough to say, okay, they deserved to win or they were hard done. It wasn't anything of the sort. I think Guatemala are deserved winners. They played the better football on the evening. Whenever they were in position, they knocked the ball around good. They looked like they understood the game more than the Jamaican team, and I don't know what's happening there. So the possession of the Guatemalan team, whenever they had possession of the football, they looked positive. They looked like they had ideas. Jamaica, on the other hand, it looked as if we were trying to overplay. Can I put it that way? Yeah. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what they were trying to do. But a lot of the times, we didn't play with any midfield. And it's a problem that Jamaica constantly has, where the midfielders are basically non-existent. And that's probably one of the reasons why the coach could feel comfortably enough putting Damian Lowe into midfield. Because quite frankly, we don't really use the midfielders anyway. But those are my takeaways from the Jamaica versus Guatemala game. In the end, it was a 1-0 defeat to the Jamaican team, or 1-0 win for the Guatemala team. They have exacted revenge on the Jamaican national team. Remember, Jamaica beat them by 3-0 a couple of days ago in a game that didn't matter. In this game, it matters, and it matters a lot, because this could very well be the difference between Jamaica finishing first, second, or even qualifying any at all through to the next round. But those are my thoughts. Let's hear what your thoughts are. Halftime TV viewers and subscribers, drop those thoughts below the video. Let's keep the conversation going, and remember, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. Big up yourself, Guatemala. Good win. Jamaica, you need to go back to the drawing board and wheel and come again. All right.